Every single day that I wake up, it's a try not to be ugly challenge. And I'm failing. I have struggled my entire life with being ugly. I was a really cute baby, really cute young child. Ugly teenager. And I'm allowed to say that because I was the child. I was the ugly teenager. And here we are today. Beautiful. Please do not say anything about my hair. I know that I need a haircut. I look like the freaking Long Island medium. As you may or may not know, my Long Island medium looking ass has fallen in love. I had to fall in love with a man from Ohio because I had to look 3,000 kilometers away to find anyone who was willing to touch me. I know that the face isn't all there, but the body is. If you're into like a medium hairy slender man. Believe it or not, there is a market for people into medium hairy slender men. There's hope for us. Unfortunately, the people in my case have all been straight men. You know what? I may have self-esteem issues. Crippling ones at that. But at least I'm educated. I went to college for 3 months. I may have only been there for 3 months, but in that 3 months, I fell in love with a straight man. And I got freaky with a straight man. But at the end of the day, that's not my fault. That's not my fault that they came knocking at my door and there was no one else behind them and they were the only ones that came knocking. Just to give you a little context, in case you forgot that I live in the middle of nowhere. Is that my fault? No, because my parents moved me out here. Am I 24 years old now and could move away? Yes. But when I graduated high school, all of my friends left me and I was here all alone. Not only did all my friends leave me, but to make it worse, the man that I dibbled and dabbled with in high school, who looked like Noah Beck, he left too. So now I was here in this small ass town with my small ass not getting much. So I knew what I had to do. I heard about what college provides, the experience that it provides. Not only does it enlarge in your brain, but it enlarges something in your pants. Now, when I was looking at universities, I had to stop because there's no way in hell that I was getting into a university. So I started looking at colleges, and there was this one college town, very southern of where I live. And let's just say, okay, maybe I'm a little crazy, but Noah Beck was also going to go to that college. And of course, that's not the only reason that I wanted to go to that college. I wasn't going to pay $14,000 just to be closer to someone who doesn't love me. I only applied for one semester because I was not about to take out $80,000 worth of debt for a freaking marketing diploma. You take me for some kind of fool. Or, perhaps, some of my psychic abilities came through and I knew that there was going to be a pandemic. The next issue on my hands was, where the hell was I going to stay? Who the hell would want to sleep in the same building as my stinky ass? On campus, there was housing for men and for women, not for men and women together. What? Bongo. So me being the little freak, the little goblin that I am, I was like, you know what? I'm definitely going to stay in a house full of men. Like a frat house? I heard about what they do to boys like me in those. Or at least I saw it on Twitter. I was so pumped and excited. I'm like, wow, 3 months of getting passed around. So when the day finally came for my mom to drop me off at college, I said, goodbye, Mom. I love you. This is the start of a new chapter, of a new adventure. Bye. Time to suck some dick. So when I opened the door and started meeting all my roommates, I immediately lost all hope and went to my room and downloaded Grindr. I gave up on Grindr immediately because back to me being ugly for a second. Tell me why I send these men a face pic and it's a cute one. I'm like that. I'm being cutesy. Blocked. I can't even tell you how many times I've been blocked after sending a face picture. Just a picture of my face. Who can relate? One of the bonuses about living in the middle of nowhere is that even if you're chopped and unk like me, you send a face picture, there's no one else around. So you know what? They're going to throw an old dog a bone. If you're on Grindr in the city and you're chopped, they're going to tell you about it. And they're not just going to be like, oh, no thanks. They're going to say, ugly. And if you're unk, so safe to say Grindr was not an option. I had to do it the old-fashioned way. I started getting colored handkerchiefs. I tied them around my belt loop. I went to stalls, tapped my foot under the stall. No one's answering. So after that reality check, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I hate men. I didn't come to college to get freaky. That's totally not why I paid $14,000. I came here to learn and to educate myself and to better myself. So I just focused on my studies for a week until one of my roommates started acting a little gay. Throughout the first couple weeks, I started to become pretty good friends with my roommates. Were they straight men? Yes. Was it a challenge for me? Yes. Did they know I was gay? No. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the energy I emit, but people just don't think I'm gay for some reason. Look at me. Do you think I'd be a straight man walking around with a waist like this? What are you, nuts? Did that kind of help me out? Yes, because I was kind of scared that city guys were more homophobic than country guys, which doesn't really make any sense because they're probably surrounded by gay people. So I had 3 roommates. 2 of them I was pretty good friends with. And this one, let's call this one James. What was that? James? Now, I don't know who would play James, but we've all met 50,000 James in our lives. He's a guy from the city who's like a fuck boy. He was a fuck boy. Play that song by Dixie D'Amelio. This was back in the day when people would actually want me at the function because I could get down and chill. And one of the things that James and I bonded over was smoking ganja. Okay, we smoked ganja. We would go for walks and smoke ganja. Now, in theory, James was a really nice guy because early into the semester, I didn't have any friends. I had my one girl who was there, and then I also had Noah Beck. But I was trying to stay away from that. I remember early into the semester, James would knock on my door and he was like, hey, do you want to go spark up? And like every single day after class, this isn't probably very good, but every day after class, we would go, we'd hang out and we'd spark up. Since James had his money up, a lot of the time, he would just offer to pay for everything whenever we go out to the club or if we go out to Wendy's or to a movie. Him and I went to a movie alone together. And yes, I'm sure that's just what bros do, but I didn't know that. I was like, this hand's not doing anything. It started to become a fun little joke between us that I was just his little housewife. Except for the fact that he wasn't hitting it. Just around James and I, there was an aura of flirtation. And I'm not being delusional this time, I swear. Even my other roommates would always say, Zach, you and James, are you guys like a thing? They would like catch onto it and they weren't joking. Because James would like come up and give me shoulder rubs and do all this stuff. And I was like, fuck me. This is when I started to know that he was just one of those sinister straight men. Because he invited me on a walk. And the city we were at has a huge valley in the middle. So him and I went on a little walk through and he sparked up. He had a blunt and he passed me the blunt. And I was smoking the blunt. As we were walking, this man grabs my hand and we just start walking with our hands together. James, what was that? This man looks over at me with my hand in his hand, a blunt in my mouth, and we're just walking with our hands together. And then he lets go and he says, wouldn't that be funny? I'm not laughing. This FaceTime is about to get a lot more spooky because now it's pitch black out and I just had to plug in my lamp into my car. You could only imagine that a guy like me has had many nights in his life that he's regretted. But this night, I regret it for a different reason. Because I was this close. I was this close to get my cookie munch to college.
I was tweaking too hard and forgot to say that a couple days after our gay little walk, James texted me at like 10 p.m. to come up to his room. Gay. Very gay.
After James texted me, I had it in my mind that this is the night. This is the night we've all been waiting for. What is flying around my car? I tried to play it all nonchalant and cool because I didn't want to blow this. This was my one chance to get my cookie munch in college and I didn't want to throw it away. I play it totally chill and I leave my room. I just waddle up the stairs, knock on James's door. Hello. This is a vision that is replayed in my mind 1,000 times because James opens the door in nothing but gray sweatpants and a little gold chain around his neck. I'm ready for anything. And then James says to me, I got you unpacked. Unpacked? He's going to shoot me. But then James points over to his smoking apparatus. And he's like, yeah, I packed one for you. Boy, I cleaned out for this. At this point, I'm just like, oh, this is just the appetizer. The main course is coming later, if you know what I mean. You do? Okay. We were just smoking up for like 15 minutes. And he's just laying over on his bed in his gray sweatpants. More like gay sweatpants. This is where being delusional doesn't come in handy. Because the whole time, from what I remember, the whole time I was sitting at his desk, he was sitting on his bed in his gay sweatpants. And in the tone in his voice, the tone was speaking, bounce on it until your legs come off. And that was something that I was ready, willing, and able to do. Except for the fact that I wasn't, because I'm not about to make the first move, as I've said a million times. I'm too scared that I'm going to get hit. So then I get up after like 30 minutes because I'm like, we've just been smoking and talking. Like, I'm tired. Like, I cleaned out for this and nothing. So at this point, I'm just bored. I'm like, oh my God, you called me up for this. So I get up to leave. I walk over to his door. And then he stands up and he's like, where are you going? I turn over. Oh, James, I will let you use your imagination. But let's just say, when I looked down at James's pants, I saw a fat cock. James said something along the lines of, oh, you're going to bed already? Not anymore. When I tell you, you didn't even need a butter knife to slice through the tension. You could just use your little pinky. Right when the munching was about to unfold, the fuck-ass roommate, who stays right beside James, he walks over and he's like, what are you boys doing? What? James's face, my face, we're both beet red, and then the fuck-ass roommate, he's just sitting there smirking, because he knew what was about to happen. And at this point, I'm just like, you know what, why don't you join in? And let's keep these good vibes going. Except for the fact that I did not say that, and I just said, good night, boys. And then just went to bed. With a boner. This is already like month 2 of the 3 months that I would be at college for, and thus far, this cookie has not been munched once. And that was about to change because I knew that Noah Beck lived in the same city as me at that point. He was going to the same school. And did I have a lapse of judgment? Yes! But my cookie needed to be munched, and I was sick of it. I just needed to scratch the itch. Noah Beck and I would text every now and then while we were at college, but we never made plans to hang out until I was like, boy, quit playing me. What are you doing later? I said it. And, you know, I did just say that I don't like to make the first move, but him and I, we had been through the ringer. As you know, from high school. If you missed that FaceTime, you can watch it up here somewhere. So I wasn't too nervous about him doing anything because I know about his business. His cookie has been munched one too many times, but let's add one more. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I have the memory of a goldfish, so if I told you this already, I don't want to hear about it. Just like I don't want to hear about my hair. But Noah Beck had a house on the other side of the city. He had a couple roommates. He had a little frat house going. So he invited me over, and let's just say we were watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think I did tell you guys this already. But anyways, we got freaky in his bed, and then his roommate comes knocking on the door. I have to go to the bathroom, and then I can hear them talking, and his roommate is like, whose shoes are those? And then Noah Beck is like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And it's embarrassing because I'm hiding in the fucking bathroom. But you know what? I did munch some cookies, so at the end of the day, it was a success. So my itch had finally been scratched, and I was like, you know what? My roommate, I still want him. But I wasn't about to make any moves because he's my roommate. I don't want to make things weird and awkward. And already after the fat cock incident, there was already sort of an awkwardness. We weren't really talking as much as we used to. He wasn't taking me out to Wendy's anymore. Wendy's nuts hit your chin. At this point, I've been officially bro-zoned by James. And it's just awkward. It's awkward because I was like, I know what was about to happen. I know what kind of man you are. But you know what? We're still friends. And we're also still roommates. So when he suggested, hey guys, we should all go to the club tonight. What do you say? Of course, I'm going to be like, hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, bro. Yes, bro. And then this is where they hit the 4th tower. Because as the night progressed and James has had more drinks in him, he's one of those straight guys where, like, they get drinks in them and then they're gay. Because he's super drunk and he's asking all of his guy friends and all of our roommates to kiss him. He's like, hey, give me a kiss, give me a kiss. And then he gets over to me and he's like, Zach, give me a kiss. How about I do something else for you? Everything that happened in the future could have not happened if I just kissed the man. But I didn't want to kiss him. I was like, boy, I know that if I kiss you, you're going to make it weird tomorrow. You're going to make it weird now. And I just don't want to deal with that. Already, you're on very thin ice, James. So I say to James, boy, I don't want to kiss you. I would have done something else with you and probably would have kissed you then, but I don't want to kiss you now. You lost your chance, bitch. After I denied James a kiss for my sweet, delicious lips, I saw in the corner of my vision, James hated that. Oh, shit. James got very mad at me, and he did, in fact, call me a faggot. The more stories I tell, the more that I think that I'm just the problem. Because the vibe was good until I pull shit like that. And that happens over and over. But James hated it. The vibe was completely shattered. And I was like, boy, I gotta get out of here. So I left early. They all stayed out drinking. I just went to bed. It was already like 2 at this point. I don't have time for this shit. To make matters worse, literally like 3 days later, all of us students get an email saying, hey, y'all best get out of this school because there's a fucking global pandemic. While everyone was packing up, I was sitting in my room on my MacBook, listening to Heaven by Troye Sivan, crying. And then I get a freaking knock at the door. And I'm like, who the fuck is it? It's fucking James. James basically just says goodbye to me, laughing, and I am humiliated. Without losing a piece of me, how do I get to heaven? Safe to say that my experience in college was shit. Now, the education part was super fun. I love to learn. I go through hell learning. But the social part sucked ass. I was fully expecting to go into this frat house and to be passed around. But instead, I got freaked out once. Wait a minute. There was also this time that we were having a house party, and this guy from South Africa who was studying to become a doctor, he was there, and he ate my ass.